Okay. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Hello, everyone. Okay. Today we start chapter 4. Here in the slide, it's called the Soul's Wardrobe. This is a great name. And let's summarize what we learned in the first 3 chapters in short. First chapter told us that every Jew have 2 souls: the animal soul, the natural soul, and the godly soul. Second chapter start the journey of explaining what is the godly soul, how is it built. Start by explaining that the godly soul is, the core of the godly soul is one part of God above. And then explaining that there is difference between souls in the body of the souls, but the core is the same. I'm calling it now the body. We're talking about the 10 attributes, the 10 sephirot. And in the third chapter, Alte Rebbe started explaining to us about the function of the first 3 attributes and the importance of them. The first 3 are Chokhmah, Binah, and Da'at, that this is the intellect. The intellect built from inspiration, understanding, and then the connection. Do you remember? Or I would say it short as well. When a person have the function of the godly soul is by understanding God and feelings towards God. This is the 10 attributes. 3 are the understanding, intellect, and the 7 are more connected with feelings and action. The last one is action. And the godly soul creates its feelings from its understanding. And what is the process of understanding? The process of understanding is the process of wisdom, let's say. The process of wisdom is, hello? The process of wisdom, I'm summarizing now the third chapter. The process of wisdom is first inspiration, as we call it, is chokhmah, is like lightning. For 1 second you see the idea, but you don't understand it yet. Bina is the second level, understanding. You think about the idea, you're going into the details. This is understanding, you can explain it. And the third level is the connection, how this idea is relevant to me. And from these 3 levels, the emotions, the midot, are being created, if it's emotions of love or respect or fear towards God. Now, so for those, the intellect and emotions, we can call it the body of the soul. Now we're talking about the clothing of the soul. What does that mean, clothing? So every person have clothing, and clothing are representing him. I mean, when he's wearing his sports clothing, I don't know if you saw, we have Purim invitation for Purim in synagogue. The theme of the event is sports, and it's written sport clothing. Okay, so when a person is kind of representing himself by what he wears, and you see an officer wearing his police uniform, so it means that he is a police officer. What's the difference between the clothing and the person? The person can change his clothing. He's in full control of his clothing. He cannot change his body. I mean, today you can do many changes to your body, but your body is your body. This is what you have. Okay? You don't got anything else. Now, the 10 attributes, every soul have what it have. You cannot change it. you can make it bigger, maybe smaller, by investing, like sports. You can make your body bigger, stronger, if you practice it. But so you can make bigger your love and things like this. Love towards God and everything. But clothing, you are in full control of the clothing of the soul. What are the clothing of the soul? The clothing of the soul are the ways that the soul expresses itself. How the soul communicates with me or with others. The clothing of the soul are thought, speech, and action. Like a human clothing that I can control absolutely what I'm saying, what I'm doing, and even what I'm thinking. The same thing, those are the clothing of the soul. Now, thought is a clothing that is very much connected with the body. It's very close to the body itself. That's why a person is always thinking. He cannot stop thinking. A normal human being can stop speaking. Yes? Some people cannot also do this. But a person cannot stop thinking. That's why he can, but he's in full control of what he's thinking about. Okay? So, those are clothings. This is the way the soul engages with me, first of all. First of all, I understand the soul when I'm thinking. And also with others when I'm speaking and doing. Okay, but it's, first of all, sorry. We have another one. Hello? We started about the clothing of the soul. We did not start read yet. The clothing of the soul, thought, speech, and action. Okay, thought is something that also thought have words, have letters. I'm thinking to myself. I'm speaking to myself. Speech is what I'm speaking to others, and action is what I am doing. Now, let's start like this. We all know a person that is going with a uniform of an officer, but he's not an officer, and it's not Purim. So he's a cheater, he's a liar. Something is not right. Same thing, an honest person, when he's wearing the clothes of action, but he's not feeling like it, this is not a sincere person. For example, a person doing something kind, but he's feeling, I don't want to do it. Or the opposite. A person should say what he feels, should say what he thinks, should do what he feeling. Even there is people that can think something that it's not themselves. First of all, he can study something. This is a good way, maybe. But sincere person, his soul is being represented by his clothing. There is full connection. Okay? So, if you talk about the godly soul, I remind you, if you have any questions, you can ask. The godly soul, when the godly soul feeling love towards God, and it wants to express this love, it's doing a positive mitzvah. Because he wants to express it with something. He's putting on tefillin. He expresses what he feels. Using the garment of action. When a person is feeling like speaking to God or feel a bit intimacy with God, he's using the garment of speech and he's praying. Also when he's learning Torah, using the garment of speech. And a person learning Torah, using the garment of thinking, of thought. So this is full connection, nice connection between the body and the garments. Yes. Okay. Now, what is more important in a human being? The body is more important than the garments, no question. Yes. A person what he feels, what he is, as we say in English. When a person is a mensch, okay, he's doing good things, but first of all, he's a good human being inside. So Alte Rebbe will start saying, of course, the godly soul feels something and doing it, wants to learn Torah using the garments of thought, pray, he's using the mouth. And also when the godly soul feels like respect of God or shame in the presence of God, like you feel shame in the presence of important person, so it keeps the body from not doing something that is against the will of God. It's also have this effect of protection. This is fine. But then Alte Rebbe saying the opposite thing, absolutely. By the soul, actually, when you think about it, what is more important is the garments than the soul itself. And this is maybe one of the great keys that Alte Rebbe bring in Tanya, and this is how it's going back and forth in all Judaism. It's not only Tanya, this is all Judaism. Because as we said before, sincere person, his garments and his identity are one. He feel love to God, he's doing it. But if we're talking about relationship, about connection, what you are is important, but what you do is more important. For example, let's say intimate example. When a husband and a wife, and the wife asking her husband, tell me you love me. Tell me something about me. And he told her, I told you, I'm telling you always. What do you need right now? Not feeling like it. Okay? Feeling like it, but why you need right now? No. Tell me. And the other said, fine. I love you, okay? You like it? Okay? Yes. It's fine. If you're doing something is more important at the moment, if you want a connection, so the other person wants to see it, to feel it. And this is the garments. And if you're taking this example to any mitzvah, okay? Any mitzvah. When I'm feeling like tefillin, I'm feeling like tefillin. I'm in the mood, it's fine. But I don't have the tefillin. I don't have it. Or I just don't want to put them because I don't understand the importance. And God is sitting and waiting for this. You felt something, but the connection didn't happen. It was feelings, it's all about you. Doing garments, it's all about the other person, it's the connection. This is in general, it's very simple. But it's much more than that if we're talking about God. And this is maybe this is for sure a much bigger idea, that how can a human being connect with God himself? If you think about it, it's not possible. Connection with God. I am not matter because I am very, very limited. And God is unlimited being. Doesn't matter what I feel, what I do, what I think. If you think about the universe, what is the importance of one human being in the universe? It's not important at all. If you think about the size of the universe, doing a bit zoom out, zoom, a bit more, no importance. So for God, the creator, what possibly I can do, think, or anything that I can achieve that it's have any significance towards God? So, what is the secret? Why it's natural? Why we are having a lot of significance to God? Because there is a list of things that he decided that those are the things that are important to him. He gave you a list. If he would not give the list, it doesn't matter what the soul is feeling. All the 10 attributes of the soul, the understanding of God, the feeling of love and respect, it's all what you, the soul, the holy soul, but limited, feeling, have no significance. Significance is what God said, this is important to me. This is important to me. So you did it. You have connection. It's mutual now. And it's really important. Why? Because it's important to me. So if we think about it, there is no measurement. There is no comparison between the holy feelings that a tzaddik, a holy person, feeling while he's praying in Yom Kippur, the highest feeling that this holy person have, and no one in the generation feeling this feeling. Yes? Holy feelings. No question. But a Jew that coming and being offered in the street to shake the lulav in Sukkot, and he did it. He created a connection with God. The feelings was holy feelings that this human being had. So this is upside down, everything. In the beginning, Alte Rebbe said, it's true, we are not liars. We are not encouraging anyone to be a liar. A person should do what he feels. But now you should know what it means to do. What is a connection? What is a real connection? And what is holy and good thing? And this is the key for in Judaism. There is always this battle. There is the holy person, the feeling, the wisdom. But what is the most important part in Judaism? Judaism is the most action. It's not about the feeling. We don't care what you feel. A person coming to the synagogue and pray. It means that God's sitting and waiting to hear those words. If you feel like it and you meditate and you thought about God, it's better. Because prayer is about the heart. But God is waiting to hear those words. The action. This is the connection. Okay? This is first part of chapter 4. Let's start with this. Any questions? You can ask from online as well. No questions. Okay. It's fine? Okay.
If you don't have questions, we can move forward.
Yes, we will. We will. I will start reading. Okay. In addition to her, yes, the godly soul in this Tanya edition referred as a female, like in Hebrew. In addition to her 10 faculties, every divine soul has 3 clothes: the power of verbal thoughts, speech and action, by which she engaged in the 613 mitzvahs of the Torah. This means that in the PDF that I sent is page 79 inside the PDF. This means that when you fulfilled all mitzvahs that require action, and you engage your speech in Torah study, which is this discussion of all 613 mitzvahs and their applications, and you engage your verbal thought in whatever you are able to grasp in the 4 realms of Torah, Torah's orchard. It's called Torah's orchard. Orchard is also initials. In Hebrew, orchard is pardes. Pardes. Pardes is pshat, remesh, drush, and sod. It's 4 levels of learning Torah. I'm just mentioning this. Its simplest level illusions, hidden meanings, and secrets. Yes, this is the 4 levels of Torah study. Page 81. Then, as a whole, the 630 limbs of your soul are invested within the 600 mitzvahs of the Torah. So here we see another concept, that every soul is built from 613. How is divided the 10 faculties to 613? You see that? Yeah? So it's not explained here. And I don't really know how exactly it's built from 613 faculties. But we will go back to the 613, I think, later in this chapter. Let's see a bit in the slide. Okay. So Da Vinci is here. So 613, the expression in Kabbalah is that a person has 248 limbs and 365 veins. That this is together 613 organs against the 613 commandments, and the 248 limbs compared to the positive mitzvot do, and the 365 veins are compared to the 365 negative mitzvot. The idea is that when we're doing all the mitzvot, we are using all our body, physical body and spiritual soul. Okay. Yeah. Now we're going to this stage, so let's read it first. Okay. Yes, exactly now. Page 82. More specifically, you learn Torah, you engage your mind in the pursuit of grasping as much of the 4 levels of its orchard as your intelligence and the origin of your soul above permit. Here, hinted between the lines, Alte Rebbe telling us, and we will see it later in the second part of the chapter, that what a human being studying. We're sitting now learning Torah. All human beings that learning Torah, what they understand is what their mind can understand and what their soul can receive. Because Torah exists in all levels of intellect and all levels of holiness. It's connected to the second part of the chapter. But the idea is that the Torah is the wisdom of God. And it means that God put himself in Torah. I don't know how to say this word in English, but he put a limited box and he put himself inside a limited box. Okay? In a cage. And then this box went through all levels. And how up and how high is your soul, it can understand. And how high is your intellect, it can understand. But a person can never say, this is what the point that I want to mention here. A person can never say, I studied this topic, I get it. No. First of all, you get what you can get if you studied as much as you can. Yes? And if you will be smarter tomorrow and you will learn it tomorrow again, you will understand better. And if you will be holier tomorrow, you will understand better. Okay? I just wanted to hint it, and we will come to it again in the second part of this chapter. Your soul faculties of Chokhmah, Binah, and Dat are now invested in your act of, I don't know how to say this word, consequently, understanding the Torah. The idea is when a person learning Torah with his garment of thought, he putting his three faculties of wisdom, the body of the soul, inside the garment of thought. Okay? So now the soul is wearing the garment of thought, and basically is engaging with the intellect part of his godly soul. When a person is learning Torah, you fulfill mitzvahs, they require that you engage in certain activities. Your soul emotions, fear, love, and their branches and offshoots are now invested in those activities. When a person is doing action, he feels something about it. If he feels the desire to be closer to God, or he feels now respect to God, and this is the reason that he's doing what he's doing. But the body of the soul now wearing what part of the body? The part of emotions of the godly soul, now wearing the clothes of speech or action. You learn Torah by speaking it out loud, a mitzvah that is equal to all the other mitzvot combined. Those same emotions of your soul are now invested in the act of speaking out the Torah's words. And we'll just explain what he's saying here. We will not go too much into that. The Torah, when a person is learning Torah, is thinking, and thought, they have something much more powerful than speech and action. Because, as we said, thoughts are very close to the soul. And not only that, they shaping the human being. When a person understands something, he's a different person. A person can do something and forget about it totally. But when a person is really learning something, and we will learn it in the next chapter, when a person is learning something, it's becoming part of his identity. He's having new identity now, because he understood something new. So, and the Torah have this garment of thought, and also the garment of speech, because when a person learning Torah, he's talking about it, he's saying the words. So it have both it have the advantage of Torah and the advantage of mitzvot, because it's also action, is not only something in the mind. That's why the Torah is called equal to all the mitzvot, because it's not only action, it's also changing the mind. Okay. So this is the beginning. So here, Alte Rebbe said, as we said in the beginning, sincere person, why he's doing mitzvot, why I am nice to you, not because I'm polite, because I feel something about it. If you will talk about what I'm feeling when I'm saying good morning to you, it will not be so sincere. A sincere person, when he's saying something, he means it. When he's doing something, he means it. When the godly soul doing a mitzvah, it's the clothing of the positive emotion that I have towards God. And so this is a proper garment. When a person is learning Torah, his mind, his brain, his intellect of the godly soul is inside the thought. Yes. Now Alte Rebbe is going to change everything upside down, as we said before. Page 83, we have nice how you can call this diagram? No. Diagram? Yeah? I don't know. Okay. First of all, let's see here. So this is the eternal engine, Chokhmah, Binah, Da'at, as we learned in the previous chapter. This is the process of learning Torah, and you're using the garment of thought. This is the orchard, Pshat, Remez, Drush, and Sod, simple meaning. Okay. And this is how the emotions No. No, we will learn it right now. Sorry. Let's continue. Why do we say that your soul's, in page 84, that your soul's emotions are invested within those mitzvot? Because love is the origin of all 248 positive mitzvot. It is from love that they are drawn. And without love, your mitzvot are missing their authentic fulfillment. As we said, it's not authentic, it's not sincere. That's because you only generally fulfill the mitzvah when you love God and desire to truly bond with Him. It's impossible to truly bond with Him by any means other than by fulfilling the 248 positive mitzvot. By bonding to them, you are bonding to Him. Page 85. Since they are, figuratively speaking, the 248 limbs of the king, a metaphor explained elsewhere. In Kabbalah, the mitzvot are compared to 248 limbs of God also. So we are in the image of God, and we also have 248. So when we're doing mitzvah with our left hand, we connected our left hand with the left hand of God. So, but it's now we're still in the stage that Alte Rebbe explained. So you expressing your positive emotion towards God. Fear, on the other hand, is the original fulfillment of the 365 prohibitive mitzvah. You refrain from doing these things because you dread the very notion of rebelling against God, the King of kings over kings, who transcendent pervades all that exists. Or you might have more intimate sort of fear, and we will explain it in a moment, a sense of shame before His greatness. You can't imagine doing anything spiteful of His magnificent, all-knowing presence, anything that He considers evil. What does He consider evil? All those things that are despicable to God, that which He hates. This refers to the negative forces of the kelipot. Kelipot is the shell that we explained in the first chapter. And sitra acha, they nurture themselves from the human being and latch onto him. When he, the Adam, here below in this world, violates the 365 prohibitive mitzvot. I will explain this text after, don't worry. That is something you dread, since you feel God's presence, and how despicable these things are for Him. Either way, when you keep these prohibitions out of fear, that emotion becomes the vital force within your resentment. So, as he explained, a person doing some mitzvah when he is sincere because he feels positive emotions towards God. And when a person feels fear of God, he's refrain from doing something that God doesn't like. Now, Alte Rebbe give here, we can see it in the slideshow. Yes, fear, this is the root of the prohibitions. The love is the root for the positive mitzvot. Now here, why fear is necessary? There is two levels of restraint. Two levels, okay? First level will be simple fear. What is simple fear? There is people that they fearing God, fearing God's punishment. It's not something that we as Hasidim very much encourage, let's say like this, but there is, and it's a valid, true feeling that protect the human being from doing something not good. But there is a higher, more intimate feeling of fear, shame. Now, shame in the good way. We all know that even when there is a child in a room, this person will behave differently. Imagine it's not a child, it's adult. Imagine it's not adult, it's your teacher from school. Imagine it's not a teacher, it's the principal. Now the principal is is very rich, successful person, or it's the prime minister, or is kings of kings. So this feeling of shame is coming with respect. The greater the shame, and it's not about the amount of shame, it's about the respect that you have towards God, so you behave properly. When you will understand, when all people understand, when they sitting now, they are in the presence of God Almighty, so it protects them. So again, this is another feeling that calls to action. What action? Refrain from all prohibition that God said not to do. Okay. So here we are ready for the next part that we already spoke about. As we see, the garments are playing very big role in this image. So a person have his body and his clothing, and the soul have the body and the garments, and the garments of the soul have some quality that the soul itself doesn't have and cannot have. Are we ready? Yes?
Who was born ready?
Now, any questions from our friends here? Oh, very nice. No questions? Okay. In page 86. Now, these three forms of engagement provided by Torah and Mitzvot are called clothes for the Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama. Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama, we already spoke about it last chapter, are, 1 second, I want to see if it's explained here. Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama are the three levels. Okay, I don't see it here. The three levels of the soul that inside the body. Nefesh is the part connected with action. Ruach is the part connected with emotions. Neshama is connected with the intellect. So, clothes are merely an accessory to the person who wears them. Nevertheless, here it comes. When it comes to these clothes, their quality is immeasurably higher and greater than that of your nefesh, ruach, and neshama of their own. They are higher and greater because they are clothing of Torah. As the Zohar tells, Torah and God are completely one. The nefesh, ruach, and neshama, the godly soul, is not completely one with God. It's holy, but it's not completely one. H87. Why are they one? Because Torah is not just profound wisdom, it is God's wisdom and desire. And God Himself, at His essence, is entirely one. For He is the knower, and He is the mind that knows, and He is the knowledge that is known, as we already said in the 2nd chapter of Tanya. As quotes above from Rambam. So as we learned, you cannot separate between God's wisdom and God Himself. If so, when a person learning Torah, what he is doing? And a person learning Torah, he is learning God Himself. And God Himself is rest inside his brains. This is the garments of the soul. The thought, the garment of thought. It's God Himself while learning Torah. You can compare it with the feeling of respect towards God that the soul has. It's uncomparable. Any feelings of the soul or any understanding that the soul have about how God is great is not God Himself as He is being inside Torah. as we see from Rambam, that the knowledge, the knower, and the known are one. So when you entering the knowledge circle, you are entering the knower. Yes. So you are one with God by learning Torah. But it's not about only learning. It's also, if we talking about the mitzvot. Let's continue. True, God is called the infinite. His greatness is unfathomable, and no thought can grasp anything about him. The same is true of his will and his wisdom. It's not only God's wisdom, it's also his desire, his wish. As it's written, there are no means to understand him. It's also written, if you will seek fathom God, will achieve it. Will you achieve it? And it's written, for my thoughts are not your thoughts. So how come we're achieving it with mitzvot? And here we're coming to the second part. The infinite and accessible God. Okay? So for one hand, as we explained before, how can a limited being can be connected with God? It's not possible. You are so insignificant. From the other hand, we said that God, in Yiddish, there is a word, ausgequetscht. Ausgequetscht. He made himself smaller and smaller and smaller until he fit in a small box. And you take this box, I'm fully inside. Ausgequetscht. It's not that God, let me explain this a bit, because it's maybe it's connected in general. We know that the world was created from God as well. Okay? So maybe when I'm holding the table, I'm holding God. What's the difference? If I'm learning Torah, you said that God ausgequetscht, put himself inside the wisdom. As I said, he makes him smaller. It's in Yiddish. It sounds like German a bit. Yes? Quetscht is to push.
Okay.
And so what's the difference between the world that was created from God and Torah? That it's not infinite. It's something that we can understand. If we can understand, it means that it has some ideas. So it's limited in a way. So there is difference. There is two ways I'm trying to, for example, a teacher, I'm trying to give an analogy, let's hope it will work. A teacher teaching something to his students. Okay? But we talk about Einstein, great teacher that knows so many things and so many of his ideas that students cannot understand yet. They are young, not so bright. And also about the amount. The amount is big. The amount of his knowledge is big. So he can give them simpler lesson. Just give small amount of knowledge, not so deep, and they will understand. This is one way. Another way would be he can give them analogy from their world. Okay? Like a story. You know, this is going to here, this, and this so smart and brilliant analogy that they understand, and inside this analogy there is quantum physics. Okay? We talk about Einstein still, yes? There is, they even don't know what they understood. They understood the story very well. They will go back home and tell the story to their parents. He gave them something that they can understand, but he put everything inside. Two ways, okay? It can. So the world, in general, was created from God as well. But God did not put himself here. Okay, he put himself on the side and created the world. Torah is also inside the world, but it's like analogy. Everything is there. You think you understand one concept of Torah, but inside there is God Himself. It's like analogy. I hope this analogy explains. Okay? Let's read it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right.
But just ask, short, if the God created the world, everything,
Yeah.
is there a little bit of himself also in every?
Everything.
Yes.
Yes.
Also.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Now there is levels. There is levels how much of God there is. We can say it in this way. There is levels how much of God there is in the Torah scroll, in the tefillin, that is called holy. There is how much is in a chair, and there is how much is in a forbidden food. Okay?
Or flowers or trees.
Or flowers and trees, it's like chairs. It's natural. So there is levels, and we will learn about them later. But yes, of course, there is nothing that can exist without the desire or, let's say, agreement or the knowledge of God. And it means that He's there in a way. This is what it means. And it means that there is a purpose. And the purpose is the purpose is the reason for it to exist. And if you reveal the purpose, so, okay, this is a lesson. Okay. So, we're moving on. Alte Rebbe is going to explain to us what is Torah. And in what way, when we're learning Torah, and Mitzvot, actually, it's also Torah about Mitzvot, where we find God inside. In what way? Where am I? Yeah. Page 88, in the second part. It was reference to this paradox that our sages said, in that very place where you find God's greatness, there you will find His humility, descending to the lowest places. Okay? Meaning here it means that God put His greatness in His humility. It's not that He's so great that He can be nice to a small child. It's not only that. He's so great, and His greatness is coming to the child. Meaning, it's not separate the humility of God and His greatness. No, He's taking His greatness into the lowest levels, and we're talking about Torah. Let's see it in page 89. So God compressed is Oisgefetch. Oisgefetch is compressed. His infinite desire and wisdom into a finite number of 613 mitzvot of the Torah, into the rules for each of those mitzvot, into the combination of letters that make up the Torah, prophets, and scripture, and into the interpretations of those texts as they are delivered to us in the anecdotes and parables told in the midrashim of our sages. He did this so that your entire neshama, ruach, and nefesh, as they are within a human body, could mentally grasp His infinite wisdom and His desire. Desire referring to mitzvot, wisdom referring to Torah. You can grasp them as they are invested within all the mitzvah, text, commentaries, and stories. And you can fulfill whatever is practical in action, speech, and thought. Alte Rebbe is very elaborating the details, because you see simple details, action, one thought here, story, one detail in halacha, Alte Rebbe want to bring to us how low God is down, because it's in the details. You did this detail correct, you found infinite God. And this is the lowest level that God went down to. We're living in a detailed world, very limited. So when we say, when one of the biggest difference between Judaism and Christianity, especially, is the place of feeling. As I mentioned before, feeling is not so important in Judaism. In the beginning of chapter 4, it looks like it's important, and it's still important, because Tanya Alte Rebbe feeling is a big role. But the role of feeling is to push you for action, because God is in the action. What I'm trying to say is that the connection between God and the world, infinite God and the world, is being represented here in the fact that God is inside the details. Inside the world means that there is details. If it's not so much about the details, so it's still disconnected from the world. In our world, if we want the table to hold, we need the 4 legs, and we need the legs to be strong. And if you miss the details, it will not hold. The world is built from small details. And the idea is that there is some legs, and it's no. You need to, the idea is not enough. Details are important. Yes? And this is what Alte Rebbe telling us. The details, the Torah went down to the small details of the law. You know, you need to put the menorah in Hanukkah not lower than 3 tfachim, but not higher than 20 amot. Details. Because God went inside to our world. Our world is built from details. And He is infinite. And details are basically the opposite of His being. But this is the idea, that in the place that you find His greatness, there He took His greatness and put it inside, His humility inside to this world. Okay. Yeah. This way your divine soul can invest herself, all her faculties, within these 3 clothes of thoughts, words, and action that are God's infinite wisdom and desire. Okay. Yes. The problem of infinity. Okay. So yes, we had this is a paradox, as we called it here. The infinite God going into the limited world. Yes. And now we're going to the next analogy of Alte Rebbe, why the Torah is being compared to water or waterfall. This is why the Torah is compared to water. Just as water will always descend from higher place to a lower one, so the Torah descended from the place of its glory as God's desire and wisdom. As Torah is perfectly one with God, who cannot be grasped by any thought at all. It traveled from that place, descending and secreting itself into each level through which is passed. Secretly, maybe I will explain it later. Through tiers upon tiers of multiple realities. Okay, sorry. In a chain of descents through all the spiritual worlds, page 91, until it become invested within physical matter and concerns of this world, which is why virtually all of the mitzvot of the Torah and its rules are about. Yes, the Torah is talking about our world, but it's not. The Torah have a rule: if 2 people, if a person is stolen from, he stole something from his friend, you need to pay double. You think it's a law? No, it's not a law. It's the wisdom of God. It was infinite. It exists in a world that are spiritual, that there is no stealing things. The concept is existing in much higher levels, in much higher, as they call it here very nicely. No, I don't find it right now. The word that I didn't know how to. I don't find it right now. Realities. In a different realities, spiritual realities. Yes, but the concept eventually came to our world, and it seems like a simple law. If a person stole from his friend, in our world there is stealing, in higher world there is no. But the idea exists much before, in much higher level, in much different way. As we said before, the Torah exists in many, many levels, all levels. Okay. Where am I? I don't find it.
It became invested.
Page 23.
91.
91. Okay. And it became invested in arguments, arrangement of physical letters written in ink on parchment. The 24 books of Torah, prophets, and scripture. So this is also not only in idea it went down all the world, also until it became physical. Yes. All this great descent and extreme investment is so that now anyone's thought can grasp God's infinite desire and wisdom. Even speech and action, which are lower on the spiritual ladder than verbal thoughts, can now grasp them and become invested within them. Now that the Torah and the Mitzvot clothe all of your soul's 10 faculties and all our 613 spiritual limbs from head to foot, your entire soul is literally wrapped up in a bundle of life with God. And God's light literally encompasses all clothes and clothes her from head to foot. The idea here now, and it will be explained, this idea in the next chapter. But the idea is that when a person is having only the body of the soul, the wisdom, the feeling that he can develop, but God himself is not there. But when a person is learning Torah and doing Mitzvot, so through the clothings, God himself is wrapping all the body, all the soul. This is the meaning of the verse, my rock, I cover myself within him. My rock, yes, it means that it's from Tehillim, that David tells for God that he's the strong things that hold him. And like shield, desire will surround you. Desire of God surrounding the human being. How the desire of God surrounding me as the human being? So according to what Alte Rebbe explained, we understand. When I'm doing mitzvah, when I'm sitting in the sukkah, in the holiday of Sukkot. So the desire of God, the sukkah is the desire of God surrounding me. When I'm putting tefillin, wearing tzitzit, and so the desire of God surrounding me. Okay? So this is the meaning of those verses according to Chassidut. This rock and this desire is his desire and wisdom as they are invested within his Torah and Mitzvot. Within them you are wrapped up with God himself. This is why the sages said one moment of returning to God and doing good deeds in this world is better than all the life of the world to come. Let's explain this concept before. A second. So here we have hiding in plain sight. God is hiding in the mitzvot. Okay, this is next. This is it. Okay. Let's explain now. Yeah. Okay. Let's finish it. Now, there is this concept in Judaism that after a person, or even before the person was born, or after the person passed away, his soul going back to heaven. And there is paradise, the world to come. What is the world to come according to Judaism? Not the time of Mashiach, but the time of the soul going to heavens. There is a difference. When the soul going to the heavens, the soul enjoying God. What does that mean? It means, as we said before, the godly soul was created from inside God. But then it have its own identity. But what is the desire of the soul's identity? To be connected with God. So the soul, being free from the limitations of the body, understand as much it can understand God, feels as much as it can feel God, and this is the biggest thing that you can give to the soul. The opportunity to express its desire to be connected with God. This is the world to come. This is paradise. The body is not there. So all physical things don't matter in the paradise. So to say about paradise, about the reward that a human being receives, that it's physical, it's stupid. We talk about the soul, not about the body. And what the soul wants to be reconnected with God, and this is what it gets. Now, how much it connected with God, as much as it can grasp as a soul, as an identity. So, what is greater? The soul's pleasure in the world to come, or all the pleasure that the human being can have in this life? Of course, the pleasure of the soul, 1 second of the pleasure of the soul there is greater for all your life here. Why? Because this is the true and the only desire of the soul. And it gets the biggest amount that it wants. In our life, every desire that we have achieved is not the only thing that we want. It's not our whole being, and it's very limited, and it's not lasting. So about pleasure, there's no comparison. Upstairs is better for the soul. But if you're talking about 1 second of doing mitzvah here, and all the thousands of years that the soul will have pleasure in the heavens, what is more true? What is more great? 1 second of mitzvah here. Why? Because all the pleasure is according to the level of the soul that it have in the heavens. But one mitzvah here is God himself. So that's why our sage is saying both in the same sentence. Our sage is saying one moment of pleasure. One moment of pleasure for the soul in the world to come is greater for all the pleasure that you can receive in this world. But one moment of returning to God and doing good deed in this world is better than all the life of the world to come. This is Alte Rebbe explained. Let's continue. What is the world to come? It is the experience of enjoying the radiance of God's presence, a pleasure of comprehending divine light. I'm in the end of page 92. Yes? The soul can comprehend as much as it comprehends. It can understand as much as it can understand. But it's limited. But no created being, even the loftiest, can comprehend more than mere reflection of God's light. That is why it's called only the radiance of God's presence. It's not God's presence even. It's what you can receive from it. You cannot see infinite. You can see what infinite can show you. As far as God himself in all his glory, no thought of any being can comprehend him at all. But when your soul grasps Torah and its mitzvot and invests itself in them, then she does grasp God himself, and she invested her being within his, since Torah and God are completely one. So in this world, you do receive God himself. You don't see it. As I said before, it's like analogy. That the teacher give analogy. You have it in your hand. You don't see quantum mechanics, but you have the idea. You have it. Okay? But the world to come, you see it, but what you can see, you see what you can see. Not everything. Okay. Now, we're coming to the last part of the chapter. The last slide. Okay. Alte Rebbe asks, yes, the Torah came to this world. But as we said before, God is infinite. He came to the world. And God is wearing too many clothes. God is wearing too many clothes. How you can call it that we understand God if I understand the simple concept of a person that stole something from his friend need to take double? This is God. It's too many clothings. You cannot. Yes, this is like the question. And Alte Rebbe said that's not true. If you're hugging the king, and the king is wearing, Google did a great job, the king is wearing a lot of clothing.
Did amazing job.
Yes, but the kid is not hugging the king. Of course he's hugging the king. And not only that, the king is hugging the kid as well. Doesn't matter how many clothing it has. There is a hug here.
For sure.
Yes? So the same thing with Torah. Let's see it. True. Page.
Good example.
Yes. Page 94. True, the Torah comes to us dressed in lowly, mundane, physical matters. Don't such garments obscure the divine will and wisdom that they clothe? You know, you ate with a spoon that it was dairy, and then you ate with the same spoon in now meat. This is not kosher spoon. You should go and burn it in this and that temperature. This is God. This is sounds childish to say this is God. Sounds crazy. How you can believe in this God? Yes, God put himself inside. God put himself inside. I don't see God. It seems just stupid rules in my eyes. But it doesn't mean if you don't see it, it means you don't hug him. No, the king is just having a lot of clothes. So this is the concept of the Rebbe trying to say, that the clothes is not changing the facts. But compare these two embracing a human king. The quality of your closeness and bond with the king is just as the same whether you embrace him as he is dressed in a single garment or dressed in many garments. All that matters is that the king himself is inside. So too, when embracing God's thoughts and God through the mundane physical matters of Torah and its mitzvot that clothe him, the same is true reverse. And this is another important point, and this is introduction to the next chapter. If the king embraces you with his arm, it makes no difference that his arm is clothed within his garments.
Fast.
Last one. 95. This is what God... Yes? Yes. This is what God does through His Torah. As it says, His right arm embraces me. This is speaking of the Torah that was given from His right arm, representing kindness and water, as we said. He sent His Torah down to earth with His right arm. The Torah comes down to us in this clothing of physical matters through God's kindness, just as water runs freely downwards. Okay, let's summarize this idea. The double embrace, okay? God's hugging us. Okay, wow. Okay.
No, it's super.
As with a shield, His will surrounds Him. Okay, amazing. Let's summarize. What we learned in this chapter. We start learning about the garments. The garments, this is the focus of this chapter. And the main novelty that Alte Rebbe gives us in this chapter is the fact that the garments of the soul, thought, speech, and action is what you can control. Two important keys. You can control it. You cannot control your body. You can exercise, but you cannot control it. You cannot change it. You cannot fully. You got what you got. But you can control the garments. This is first key. Second key, garments is God. The garments of the godly soul, God is inside them. When you're learning Torah, you're learning the simplest concept. You're learning God. Because God, oisgequetscht, He put Himself inside this box of Torah, this box of Mitzvah. There is big difference between Torah and Mitzvot, and it's very interesting, but it's not here. But this is the message. You in control of the garments, and God is inside. The godly soul is holy identity that's pushing you to use the garments. And we must have a relationship with our identity of the godly soul. But God is in the garments of the soul. This is the idea of this chapter. And we learned about the descent of Torah and Mitzvot from God Himself being infinite to our limited world, but the descent not turns the Torah to become mundane, to become not holy. It's staying God's wisdom, but in a way that we can understand. It stays infinite, but we can hold on to it. This is Torah and Mitzvot. This is the idea of this lesson. Any questions about chapter 4?
All good.
Oh, good. Some of you are still here.
What do you like?
We have everyone is connected.
Not really.
We have 4, 5. Any comments? No, not today. Okay. Oh, we have some likes. Okay, great. Okay, this is chapter 5. Now you close the video. Chapter 4. Sorry. In chapter 5, we will continue learning about the Torah.